Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to stand here today, surrounded by so many individuals whose sacrifices have shaped the course of Bangladesh's journey. As we gather here, we not only recognize the struggles of the past, but also the enduring resilience that has defined our path to freedom and democracy. Bangladesh has always been a land of struggle, from the language movement of 1952 to our fight for independence in 1971. We have paid a heavy price for our right to be heard. But our struggle did not end with liberation. The fight continues to this day. For the last 15 years, we have faced severe repression from a government which sought to silence its own people. The immense suffering, torture, and sacrifices by the opposition parties, its leaders, dissenters, and activists, many of whom are here today, tell us that our fight for democracy is one that truly never ends. They have faced repression, enforced disappearance, imprisonment, and torture. Yet, they have continued to fight for what is right. They have continued to fight for the right of democracy of the people of Bangladesh. I would also want to take a moment to acknowledge the sacrifices of the students and the ordinary citizens of the country who have always been at the forefront of this struggle. The youth of Bangladesh have always ignited the spark that leads to change, and July Uprising was no exception. And they have showed that they've proved once again that the spirit of this nation can never be crushed. Many gave their lives while many lost their limbs to build a better future. Today, as we gather to honor the contributions of some of our friends who have supported us through thick and thin, these friends have shown us that democracy is a shared struggle. They have stood with us, raised their voices on the global stage for us, and worked tirelessly to support our journey. For that, we are eternally grateful. And now we look forward, united by the belief that a new Bangladesh is within our grasp. A Bangladesh where democracy is not just a hope but a reality. A Bangladesh where the rule of law is upheld, where justice is guaranteed for all, and where the sacrifices of those who fought for our freedom are honored through meaningful action. The road ahead may be long, but it is one that we will walk together. This is a time for all of us to unite, to work side by side, and to create a future where politics serves the people and leads to progress, where leadership is defined by service, and where every citizen can share in the promise of a better tomorrow. With the courage of those who fought for our freedoms and the steadfast support of our friends, we will continue to build a Bangladesh where democracy thrives, where the rights and freedoms of every citizen are upheld, and where our nation's future shines brighter than ever before. With that, let us honor the incredible individuals who helped pave the way for this future. First, we honor William B. Milam, a devoted friend of Bangladesh whose relationship with the country spans over 3 decades. As the US ambassador to Bangladesh from 1990 to 1993, he was a front row witness to some of the most transformative moments in the country's journey toward democracy. And Mr. Milam's commitment didn't end with his diplomatic tenure. He's remained an engaged and supportive figure for Bangladesh, sharing his expertise and insights on the country's political landscape long after his diplomatic tenure ended. Through his writings, his analysis, and his continued engagement as a senior policy scholar at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars in Washington, D.C., he has also been serving as the president of Right to Freedom, an organization that focuses on human rights and democracy issues in Bangladesh. Mr. Milam's friendship and support have been constant, even when the world has looked away. Today, we honor not just an ambassador, but a true friend of Bangladesh, a man who believed in our democracy when it wasn't easy to do so, and who continues to offer his wisdom for its growth. I would now like to request Mr. Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chowdhury to present the crest to Ambassador Milam.
really meant it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Mr. Milam to say a few words.
That's good luck. Or maybe it's bad luck, I don't know. Well, I was going to start with my usual script, which talked about, you know, how I discovered Bangladesh when I was named to be ambassador there, and how I sort of grew to love it because of the great time, not only the great times and great friends I made there, but because I witnessed there one of the highlights of my diplomatic career when the dictator Ershad was put down, and a government, or I should say government powers, were given to, or went to, the two, one of the two major parties who helped put her down, who in fact did put her down. Well, I was going to start on that, but then our speaker, who introduced me, who I met the other day, who is one of the students you probably know, who is going to be running in the election when it happens, said something that really sort of struck me as sort of universal and enduring, and that is that I guess all of us at some time or the other who have lived in this world have to fight for our freedom and understand that democracy is not just given to us, but it has to be preserved by us, maintained by us, nurtured by us. And we have to fight for it when people who don't like it, who want to take it away from us, try to do so. And that's, I think, strikes me as an interesting thought, because Bangladeshis have had to do that, and have had to do it now for a long time. And now I think Americans are having to do it. And so I think that, if anything, what that will make the Americans, at least this American, even more closer to Bangladesh than he already was. I want to tell you that I did write a lot about Bangladesh, and I wrote a lot about Sheikh Hasina and her government and how it was degrading the democracy and finally destroying the democracy. And what I suffered when I was doing that was something that I didn't realize was so precious to me until I realized that I no longer could get a visa. So I couldn't visit Bangladesh even to refresh my feelings about it. So for a number of years, I really don't know how many, I have not been back here. But I came back a week or so ago. I came back with John and another friend because we have formed a organization. I can't remember what it's called, but an organization. It's called, I know what its title is. Its title is Right to Freedom. And that title was invented by another Bangladeshi who is now not with the organization and is in Mexico. But it was that we decided when we decided to form the organization that it would be focused on human rights and democracy in Bangladesh. And despite our thoughts about expanding that beyond Bangladesh, we never have. And we have been active in letting Americans and the American government know what was going on in Bangladesh, or we tried to do this at least. And we have been active in also, to some extent, trying to convince the government of the United States to take different policies, because they were a little bit too, we thought, a little bit too accommodating to Sheikh Hasina and her government. And I don't think that we had a lot of what happened here to Sheikh Hasina and what happened to you, but we were trying at least, but because that was really the work of you, and particularly I think the students who stood up and to gunfire and all kinds of danger, and forced the Sheikh Hasina government to decide to leave. So anyway, I think I've talked long enough, because I'm starting to get emotional about it myself. But I want to say to the organization, thank you very much. I'm very proud of this award. I don't know if it'll hang from a wall, but I'll try. And in any case, I'm really happy to be here in Bangladesh. I haven't been here in a long time. We have had a really nice visit. We're getting things done, we're learning things, and we think we might even be back. So, but my congratulations to all of you who have moved into another realm of politics and are looking to probably, hopefully, form a democracy that you can sustain and nurture and keep going for a long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Milam. Our next honoree is Mr. David Bergman, an investigative journalist who became a symbol of courage and integrity during one of the most politically charged moments in Bangladesh's history. During the International Crimes Tribunal, Mr. Bergman was one of the last rational voices, uncovering the flaws and contradictions in a system that many others turned a blind eye to. In a country gripped by political tension, David stood firm, never compromising on the truth. His work reminds us that journalism is not just about reporting the news, it's about being brave enough to challenge the narrative when it's wrong. And Mr. Bergman has done that for Bangladesh with unmatched integrity. As we honor Mr. Bergman tonight, we acknowledge the power of truth, no matter how uncomfortable it can be. Now let's hear from Mr. Bergman directly through his recorded message.
Hi there, I'm speaking from London. All in Dhaka this evening. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm not one for long speeches. I want to thank, first of all, Brain for honouring, marking my work. Completely unexpected and necessary. And I note, of course, the Exalted Company also here today, their work also being marked. Bangladesh has gone through extraordinary political change in the last 6 months. It's obviously really important that independent journalists continue inside the country and outside the country to write about the country, to both write about what is positive and what is negative. And I hope that I will continue to be able to do that in the future. And that's all I really want to say today. Thank you very much indeed, and I hope to see many of you who are here this evening, shortly when I come back to Bangladesh at the end of March. Thank you very much. Hi there.
Our next honoree tonight is Professor Ashok Swain, a global voice for justice who was never afraid to speak truth to power. Professor Swain's advocacy has spanned continents and conflicts, whether challenging the injustice of the Zionist campaign in Palestine, the rise of Hindutva in India, or the authoritarian grip of fascism in Bangladesh. His fearless critics of India's growing tide of hate politics have made him a target in his own homeland, but that has not deterred him. He has stood firm, using his platform to challenge oppressive regimes. Tonight, we honor not just his work, but the courage it takes to stand firm in the face of oppression. We will hear from Professor Swain through his recorded message now.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and most importantly, the courageous people of Bangladesh. Its dominance get together through that deep community that accept this recognition and Bangladesh research analysis and information making trend. While I regret not being able to be there in person, which I would really like to, I'm truly honored to stand in solidarity with you today. The recent triumph of people of Bangladesh against oppression is nothing short of history. At a time when democratic backsliding is occurring in many parts of the world, the people of Bangladesh have defied odds, demonstrating extraordinary resilience and determination in reclaiming their rights. This was not the work of any one leader or organization, but the collective will of a nation refusing to accept injustice. For years, the voices of those suffering under the previous regime were too often ignored. Many in the international community looked the other way, despite clear evidence of corruption, repression, and the brutal silencing of dissent. But amidst this silence, there were those who spoke out, brave activists, investigative journalists, and committed diplomats who refused to let the truth be hidden. I'm deeply honored to be recognized alongside Ambassador William B. Milam, Jon Danilowicz, and David Bergman, individuals whose integrity and commitment to justice have helped bring international attention to the struggles of the Bangladeshi people. As Bangladesh embark on the path of democratic transition, the road ahead will not be that easy. Hard-fought freedoms must be safeguarded, institutions strengthened, and justice ensured for those who suffer under tyranny. Democracy is not just about elections. It's about the protection of fundamental rights, the rule of law, and the inclusion of all voices. I mean all voices in shaping the country's future. To the people of Bangladesh, I offer my deepest respect and unwavering support. Your struggle serves as an inspiration far beyond your borders, reminding us all that democracy is never given. It's won through courage, persistence, and the refusal to surrender to fear. I look forward to seeing Bangladesh emerge stronger, freer, and more inclusive in the years ahead. Thank you once again for this profound honor. I stand with you in solidarity today and always. Thank you.
Our final honoree for the night is Mr. Jon Danilowicz, a man who took on a battle few were willing to fight. Jon became a lone voice on the global stage, speaking out against the erosion of democracy, human rights abuses, and the rise of fascism in Bangladesh, often when no one was willing to raise the voice. In addition to his diplomatic and media efforts, Jon confronted a far-reaching misinformation campaign aimed at distorting the global narrative about Bangladesh. While others stood by, he took on the fight, pushing back with truth and facts. He wasn't just reporting on the news, he was making sure the world was listening to us and understood the truth about Bangladesh even when it was uncomfortable. His tireless work makes him not just an advocate, but a defender of truth. His bravery to stand alone, to challenge narratives, and to fight for a more just world is something we can all look up to. He has shown us that sometimes standing up for what's right means standing alone. I would now like to invite Mr. Shohidul Alam to present the crest to Mr. Jon Danilowicz.
great to see someone take his picture first.
Jon, I would like to invite you to come and say a few words.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank Brain for this incredible honor. For me to be honored along with Bill Milam, my friend David Bergman, and Professor Swain, who I've gotten to know a little bit recently, is really spectacular. And it's great to have a room full of friends, people who I've known for many years, who I've interacted with in Bangladesh, and a whole new set of friends who I first met on WhatsApp. And I was telling somebody, I never used WhatsApp before July and August of 2024. So among the things that's come out of the July revolution is a new tool for me to communicate and meet friends. One of the common questions I would get all of the time when I was advocating for Bangladesh was who was paying for me. And you can take your pick. I won't ask for a show of hands. Was I being paid by the BNP? Was I being paid by Jamaat? Was I being paid by Professor Yunus? Was it Hillary Clinton? Maybe it was George Soros. Somebody had to have been paying me. And I think this question came because those who have no principles, really can't understand somebody who acts on principle. So many of you knew me before, or you thought you knew me. You knew me, and when I talked, I spoke as a representative of the United States government. I listened to you, I tried to understand Bangladesh, I tried to think about what was best for Bangladesh, what was best for the United States, and how we could work together. And I had the opportunity to work with a number of amazing bosses, colleagues, and friends at the U.S. Embassy. But I have to tell you, the best thing I did in my Foreign Service career was retire. Because the moment I retired, Jon Danilowicz could actually say what Jon Danilowicz thought, both in private and in public. And I have to confess, at times this got to my head. I had enablers like Zafar Sobhan, who gave me a platform to write. I had others like Motir Rahman Chowdhury, who shamelessly plagiarized things that I wrote in English and put them in Bangla and put them before an audience, knowing that he could then deny responsibility whatsoever for these words that appeared in his newspaper. Again, I've had the opportunity to appear on podcasts. I have engaged with many people online and social media. We have our own small quarterly publication that we started, which has been another opportunity for me to get my views out, and it's been really great for me to be able to say what I think, mean what I say. I wanted to talk just briefly about Right to Freedom. As Bill mentioned, this organization was founded while I was still in the service. When I retired and thought I would sit at home and enjoy a quiet life, Bill called, and for the third time, I said yes, I would go work for him. So the first two times must have gone very well, and I've not regretted a moment of it. I want to recognize the others who've stood with us on the Right to Freedom journey. Mushfiqul Fazal Ansari, Bangladesh's ambassador to Mexico. So if any of you go to Mexico, please see Mushfiq. It appears from social media he's having a great time, including hanging out with Miss Universe or Miss World, who he's bringing to Bangladesh. So I assume he's going to accompany her to make sure that she receives the proper reception. And perhaps Brain could organize an event for them as well. I want to recognize Abdurrahim Deepu, who currently is kind of the one who does it all behind the scenes at both Right to Freedom and SA Perspectives, and who we're going to give the task of putting together the roadmap for us to establish a permanent presence here in Bangladesh. And I want to also recognize two of our strong supporters who've been with us since the beginning, Saiful and Milton. Thank you very much for the role that you played and the support that you gave as part of the community. We're all volunteers. We do this on top of other things that we're doing, some who are working very hard during the day and some of us who are running after our grandchildren during the day. We find time to come together and do this. For some of you who've read what I've written before, one of my common constructs is the elevator speech, right? You get in an elevator on the first floor and that elevator's going to the top and that's all the time you have with the person you're trying to convince. So you have to be really concise. So the elevator's on the ground floor, maybe not this hotel, we're not that far up. Maybe we're at the Westin and we're going to the top floor. So the elevator's just started. And I'm not going to waste my time talking about what's happened in the past because you all know that. What I'm going to talk to you about is the future. And what I'm going to talk to you about is the importance of the coalition that came together to deliver Bangladesh its freedom in August, remaining together. That doesn't mean it's always going to be kumbaya, you're always going to agree, you have to be part of the same party, you have to agree on every issue. But you share a common goal, and I know that because you came together for that common goal. And that common goal still remains. It's not going to be achieved by the end of this government's tenure. It won't be achieved likely by the end of the next government's tenure. But that goal is achievable. There have been 3 false starts in Bangladesh. Let's make sure that this is not the 4th false start. Let's make sure that this one, redeems the sacrifices of those generations who've come before. Elevators here, I wish you well, and we'll be with you in watching and cheering and supporting us how we can. Thanks.
Our 4 honorees of the night have demonstrated what it truly means to fight for democracy. Their work has not been easy. Oftentimes, the work has been uncomfortable, unpopular, and sometimes dangerous. But they did it anyway. Thank you, everyone, for being here today to honor these 4 incredible individuals. I now invite the Executive Officer of BRAIN, Mr. Shafiqur Rahman, to say a few concluding words.